Hello and welcome to the America Digital Congress Miami 2023. I'm Brian Byrnes. Thank you for joining us here on the first day of our wonderful event here in Miami Beach. I have two guests with us today from GlobalLogic. To my right I have Gabriel Arango, who's the head of technology for GlobalLogic Latin America. And to his right we have Juan Bello, who is the business head for GlobalLogic Latin America. Welcome, gentlemen. Nice to see you both.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
No, it's my pleasure. I'm glad to be here with you both. So first, tell me, what is GlobalLogic? I know you have 30,000 engineers around the world, but tell us a little bit more about what the company does.
Well, GlobalLogic, as a company, we devote to create new products. We combine design, technology, data in a way that we are able to create the next generation of products for our clients. We are a design-led product engineering company. Worldwide, with a huge presence in most of the continent. We are in Americas, where we are about 3,000 people in Americas, out of 30,000 people worldwide. And working for, you name it. We create software for banking, for bank finance, insurance, for cars, for planes, for medical devices, rails, you name it. I think that's the key point here is we create software that is going to be critical for the companies in terms of revenue generation or the results. So that differs from just creating software. Our software needs to not only do what is expected the software to provide, but to do it consistently on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, and having the flexibility to be able to go together with the business needs at the pace that the business needs the changes will happen. So that requires a lot of design, of course, and top-notch engineering, and that's why we are both together. This is impossible to be separated in what we do.
Understood. And what sets you apart, do you think, from other people in this space? I mean, you have such a big global team, 30,000, that's a lot of folks. What do you think sets you apart?
My part, the part of the technology is today to be a business enabler. We cannot do, fintech. There are several industries that are now taking technology, right, as their business enabler. Not only the way that they do business, they are transforming, right, the industry, technologies. So my part as head of technology, is to be on the top of the latest technology, methodologies, the standards that we are going to talk about a lot in the conference, and how we can help these industries to create the next generation of their products.
Right. Talking about standards, there's been a lot of changes, particularly in the finance industry, the payments industry, cross-global border payments, etc. Tell me about these new opportunities, particularly when it comes to the interconnection standards, including the ISO 20022. Can you tell me how you see that there's opportunities for GlobalLogic with these new changes?
Well, new technologies create new possibilities, always. And the innovators of the world are really quick in order to take those innovations into money generating innovations or business. So you have tons of fintech, you have tons of startups creating new stuff. And typically the technology and the innovation moves faster than the regulations. And that creates a little bit of havoc here and there and uncertainty. And when we talk about industries like finance, highly regulated industries like finance or healthcare or other industries, standards are very, very important. Right. Luckily, there are several organizations that have been creating and deploying standards worldwide, starting with open banking in Europe more than 10 years ago, and a couple of other standards, PSD2 as Payment Services Directive, version 2 in Europe. Typically, Europeans are much faster than other regions in order to deploy standards. And recently, last year and a half, US has deployed and start enforcing a new standard for data and payments in the finance industry, which is ISO 20022. So the combination of this innovation, new technologies, and more importantly the standards allows a ecosystem of open innovation. Why? Because having a standards allows companies to focus on a particular piece of the value chain and be ensured that that value created there will be available for the rest of the companies involved in the business processes. So open banking basically released or liberated the data access and the transaction access for the customers. Typically, the banks were the owners of the data and the transactions. Open banking were aiming to open that to a more innovative environment where you need the user to be the owner of the data. ISO 20022 regulates the way that data and those transactions are moved across systems and platforms. So having a standard that says this is a payment, this is a funds transfer, this is a account balance inquiry, this is the way you can move this information across systems that belongs to different companies, allows those different companies to quickly innovate without all the hassle of having to design the wheel and every particular business opportunity or operation. So basically the standards are liberating the innovation for a very broad ecosystem that weaves fintech, banks, regulators, insurers, international payment companies, and that's the most interesting thing about the possibilities that the standards lay ahead. So.
Gabriel, what opportunities do you see from the enterprise, but also in B2B situations, but also how these opportunities will come down to the consumer as well?
The amount of data that is being generated about these standards, the real time, is generating a lot of much more information in real time. So the business has the opportunity, right, to create using big data, machine learning, generative AI that everyone is talking about, to generate a brand new experience using that information. So there's a huge opportunity to B2C that is also already developed, and B2B, right, to generate a much better and much richer experience for the user with all this amount of information that they have, right? And they have it now in real time. And in an ecosystem that everyone is talking the same language. So
right.
That information is there. So if your business is not taking advantage of that information, someone else will.
Certainly. What about fraud management? What opportunities do you see there? What challenges are there? I mean, it's obviously a challenge for all financial institutions, all businesses. What opportunities do you see, particularly now that AI has just become a part of everything we think about now?
Well, part of the fraud management it's supported by the standards itself because it provides a secure way to access data, it provides very specific ways to onboard operators that will access the data and the transactions that the user is deciding to share. So the standard gives you at least a layer of order that will help the companies to implement technology to protect each particular step in a business transaction. From the technology point of view, the cyber attacks are becoming more and more sophisticated and more intelligent. Actually, today it's very unlikely that you will have a successful attack that is not somehow aimed by an artificial intelligence, because you can use AI to impersonate somebody, to bulk force attack a system, etc. And there are technologies that allow us to protect the transaction from AI, but basically because there is a framework that establishes which is the obligation of each party in a transaction process. Gabriel can talk much more than me in terms of the technologies around security.
On both sides. I mean, you can use it in the good way and in the bad way, right? We are helping companies to use it in the good way, right? And most of the fraud detections, insights, recommendations are going to be AI-based. I mean, then you will have the human interaction in the business side, but in the daily operations, in the daily flows, there will be a lot of automation powered by AI, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, the world is different now, right? And it sounds like companies like GlobalLogic, you are trying to stay ahead of the curve with these things, right? What do you see next? AI is now in the vocabulary of everybody around the world. However, not everyone understands its possibilities, the good and bad of it. But what are you seeing at your company coming in the next 12 months and perhaps 24 months beyond?
From a business perspective, what we're seeing is that the new technologies and standards are allowing to create embedded finance solutions. I don't remember the exact number, but around 2/3 of all business transactions worldwide are not being processed within a financial institution. So you have lenders, you have payment companies, you have digital wallets, and those are not regulated financial institutions in some cases. So it creates an explosion or a variety of possibilities around the business perspective of this. So.
And fintech technology has really changed the world, particularly in Latin America, the region where you guys live and work. It's enabled and empowered a lot of people that traditionally weren't served by the banks or any financial institution. Do you see the work that you're doing in the enterprise, again, coming down to the consumer, and what are the benefits you see that everyday people might experience?
There will be a lot of social inclusion, the non-banking, the people that is not without an account. I mean, by the usage of digital wallets, we have created several digital wallets for fintech, telecommunications company in the region, that one of the things that they are looking for is to bring a financial product, a digital wallet, a way to do your daily transactions, right? Without the necessity of having a bank, right, behind. So that is also a social impact. I mean, the new technologies will not only take care of doing business, will also take care of the people and the planet. I mean, we have to do that with a triple impact. People, business, and planet must be in the equation.
Triple impact. I like that.
Today the technology. Thanks to a combination of new hardware and new software technologies, AI plus new interaction or interfaces devices, technology can be aware of the context. The technology can understand where you are, what you're doing, what's the gesture you're doing with your hand, if you're driving fast. So the future of finance it's invisible. It's embedded with our daily life. It's going through the supermarket without even thinking on I will pay with my credit card or with Venmo or whatever.
Right.
It's just going to happen. And that's basically allowed by this combination of new technologies and new standards. Without standards or without these new technologies, that level of integration of the financial aspect of our life and the real life will be completely impossible. So we are entering into a phygital world where the boundaries between the physical and the digital are being blurred. Yesterday we've seen the launch of a AI-powered pin that can see what I see, can see what I'm doing with my hands, can talk to me, and so that creates a lot of opportunities to improve people's life. But we must be very aware that everything we do has a cost. And we need to be sensitive to the cost that technology applies to the planet, which is not infinite. There are certain boundaries we need to take care. So we can use the same technologies in order to optimize our software, optimize the energy consumption, optimize the driving or last minute logistics. So in that, it's also part of the financial world, because the negative impact in the planet is causing a negative impact in the economy as well. So I think that that combination of technology is the knot.
That's a good way to look at it, certainly, and a good way to end it here, I think. Thank you so much, Juan Bello, Gabriel Arango, both representatives from GlobalLogic here at the America Digital Congress, Miami 2023. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the Congress. And yes, a pleasure for me as well. Thank you so much. We're going to send it back to you. We'll be back shortly. Thank you.